The Splatoon games have always been ones that have caught my eye over the years, but I unfortunately didn't get to play them because I never had a Switch. I was on PlayStation, which meant instead of playing Splatoon, I was stuck with this. And you better believe I didn't touch any of that crap. So as the years went on, I just kind of forgot about Splatoon until this year with Splatoon Raiders, which brings us to the most important question of this review. Is Splatoon Raiders a good starting point for the Splatoon franchise? Yes. And I think that's an easy yes. There's nothing in this game that's going to ruin your experience if you haven't played the previous games. If anything, I think starting here could actually enhance your experience with the rest of the series. And I was honestly shocked by how much fun I had with this game. I've seen a lot of people comparing it to Helldivers, and I think that's a pretty good comparison, but personally, it reminds me a lot of Diablo. And in some ways, I actually think this might be better gameplay than Diablo. I was a little surprised at just how fleshed out the gameplay mechanics were for the boss battles in this game compared to Diablo 4. In Raiders, the simple loop of fighting massive mobs of enemies, trying not to get absolutely destroyed, grabbing as much loot as possible, and then using that loot to make your build stronger so you can go right back out and do it again, it checks out all the boxes for me. So far, I've put about 26 hours into Splatoon Raiders, and I can honestly say I'm still having a good time with it. I'm at the end game now, and it's been very, very fun. There's just something really fun about splatting someone right in the face. Oh no, please, I'm sorry, it was just a joke, come back, please! The story of Splatoon Raiders is pretty simple. You're following your main crew, Shiver, Fry, and Big Man, and I'll be completely honest with you, I didn't even know these characters were in the other games until I started researching for this review. That's how new I am to Splatoon. You crash land on the group of remote Spearlight Islands, and luckily for you, there's treasure to be found. So naturally, you're gonna help these three get filthy rich. You play as the mechanic, and your role in this entire operation is basically do everything they tell you to do and be okay with it. They help, don't get me wrong, but the weight of the operation is definitely on you, as it should be, because guess what? It's a video game. You're the main character. The story itself is pretty basic, but honestly, that's one of my favorite things about it. I've played a lot of heavy narrative games over the years, and it's honestly just burned me out on those types of games. Something I've really enjoyed about playing these Nintendo games is just how charming and lighthearted and goofy they are. They do sometimes pack a punch. There are some heavy hitters out there, but something about Splatoon Raiders is just one of them games that make you feel cozy. Don't get me wrong, the gameplay can get pretty hectic at times, but it's just a really fun time, and I cannot praise the story enough. It's simple, but good. And I just wanted to clarify, like I said before, you do not have to play the other three Splatoon games to enjoy and get a full grasp on what this game is about. This is technically a side game. It's a spin-off, a very good spin-off that is. But yeah, the only thing that I noticed was the Deep Cut crew was apparently in Splatoon 3. Had no idea. And that's fine because I got to know them in this game and they're just as fantastic. I loved them. Yeah, it didn't hurt my experience whatsoever. Visually, this game is really impressive. You're getting a locked 60 frames per second, both docked and handheld, and apparently the resolution can change depending on how much is happening on screen, but honestly, I barely noticed it. And I think the art style probably helps hide some of that. Splatoon obviously has this colorful, cartoony style, and it looks fantastic here. The lighting looks great, the shadows look great, and man, I never thought I would say this in a video or just in general for that matter, but the ink looks incredible. It's thick, it's gooey. You know what, that's enough. We're moving on here. The gameplay is where Splatoon Raiders really hooked me, and I think it's where it really hooked a lot of people. Honestly, the gameplay loop is the entire reason I decided to start with Raiders instead of going back and playing the older games first. This is an ARPG looter shooter, and I'm already a huge fan of those types of games. As someone who loves Diablo, the constant loop of getting better gear, upgrading your character, becoming stronger, and then using the strength to take on bigger and bigger mobs is incredibly addicting. What I found funny, but not surprising as a Diablo fan, is Splatoon Raiders having more gameplay variety and mechanics for boss bosses and just gameplay in general than Diablo 4. And there was another reason why I was hesitant to jump into the older Splatoon games first, and that was the online multiplayer. Splatoon already has this massive fan base full of people who have been playing these games for years. I already knew what was going to happen. I was going to load into my first match and get obliterated by every single player. There could be a 6-year-old playing, and he's probably been playing since he was 3, and he's gonna obliterate me. That's just how it goes. It's just how it goes. If you play enough games long enough, you're gonna become a god. It's just how it is. Sometimes, most of the time. I was not prepared to get absolutely spanked while trying to figure out what button shoots the gun. Don't get me wrong, I would know what button shoots the gun, but you know what I'm saying. Raiders being focused on single player and co-op completely removes that problem. I had the ability to learn and play at my own pace, and now I actually do feel confident enough to go into Splatoon 3 or the other games, probably the third one. That's where most of the players are probably at, and hold my fair share. I really do think I could dominate those people. I mean, I'm probably still going to get destroyed, let's be honest with you, but at least now I can pretend I know what I'm doing. Early on though, I did have one concern. The game felt way too easy. The enemy mobs were pretty small. I was tearing through everything, and I honestly started getting a little bored. But after the first boss, yeah, things definitely started picking up. There are 5 different mission types you'll work through. You'll have your standard linear missions, then you have the multi-level missions, which were some of my favorites. You also have the open battlefields, and honestly, these were probably my least favorite missions in the game. And then you have the Salmonid Dens, which are some of the hardest missions in the entire game. And I do love these. These missions are where the combat really gets to shine because the game just starts throwing enemies at you. And finally, you have the more puzzle-focused dungeons. These require a little more critical thinking instead of just blasting through mobs of enemies, and I actually had a lot of fun with these too. Overall, I thought the mission variety was really solid, and more importantly, they're addicting to replay. Because once you complete a mission, you unlock harder difficulties, and harder difficulties mean better loot. And you already know I'm a sucker for better loot. Speaking of the loot, let's go ahead and talk about the weapons, because this is probably my biggest negative with Splatoon Raiders. I'm honestly just not a huge fan of most of these weapons. I've used the splatter shot for probably 95% of my playthrough. They definitely tried to make every weapon feel unique, and I respect that, but most of them just didn't click with me. I liked some of the melee weapons, but not enough that I really wanted to stop using my splatter shot. I'm sure once you get deeper into co-op though, having different weapon types across your team becomes much more important, especially when you're trying to keep enough of the battlefield covered in your ink. The gadgets and abilities, on the other hand, really freaking cool. Each tank you use have different abilities, and you can continue improving them with the different perks you unlock throughout the game. It gives you another layer of progression on top of everything else, and it makes experimenting with your build even more satisfying. Basically, it's really fun. I love it. That's what I've been trying to say for the last 5 to 10 minutes. I love it. Now, after going over all these things, should you play it? Because I think that's what I'm going to do with my reviews. Instead of giving a full rating, because I'm not like this professional journalist. I'm not going to be like, oh yes, it's a perfect 73.2%. I'm just a guy that wants to sit in front of a mic and talk about video games. I think this is a very easy yes. You should definitely give this a shot. I think especially being able to play this game completely single player, that's fantastic. If you're going somewhere and you have bad service, pop in Raiders, go get some loot. It's a good time. But you can play co-op with friends too, which also enhances the difficulty. I'm sure they said that they add more loot and better loot on top of that. It's just a really good time. I love ARPGs. I love it. I love looter shooters. There's just something really addicting about getting better loot and making your character stronger. And like I said at the beginning, if you've never played a Splatoon game in the past, that's perfectly fine. I haven't either. And that's the point of this video, because I had that same question before I bought it. Should I even try to play this before playing the other ones? And yes, it was such a fun experience. It didn't ruin anything for me. It is a really good time. There's plenty to do here. There's a ton of replay value, and you can experience the whole thing solo or jump in with friends, like I said. Going forward, I'd love to see them add some new mission types to keep things fresh, and I definitely wouldn't complain about some more unique weapons that actually make me want to try them out. For one, I'd like to actually put down the splatter shot and try something else. And considering how well this game has been reviewed and received, I can see them doing that. I can see them doing that, adding an extra game mode or two and adding some more different variety and guns and stuff like that. I can see them doing that. We'll just have to wait and see though. But as it stands right now, yeah, Splatoon Raiders is fantastic. I loved this game. So Soldier, I'm gonna need you to grab your splatter shot, join me, and we're going to splat those salmonids right in the Thank you guys so much for watching the channel. Thank you guys for watching all the videos. I really do appreciate it. Consider dropping a like and subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. Make sure you try out Splatoon Raiders because it's a really good time. And until next time, take it easy. Bye-bye.